My name is Chris Flack. I am the founder of the Baltimore City Youth Architectural Design Collaborative, and we were established in 2021. In America, there's 130,000 registered architects. Of those 130,000, 2% are Black. It's even more disparaging for females, Black females. They're at about 0.04 or 0.5%. So I established this initiative after spending 25 years doing commercial residential development in the District of Columbia. After COVID, wanting to go through a change of career. So I decided to be of service, moved to Baltimore, and established the Baltimore City Youth Architectural Design Collaborative. We go by BCYADC. Right now, we're in our second pilot program. We have about 10 kids, and they are learning Revit and AutoCAD, which are the primary softwares that architects use. So we're getting our kids who are sophomores and juniors prepared to go to college. We also have a collaboration with Morgan State University where they actually serve as our junior architects and do a lot of the teaching as well. So we're trying to establish a pipeline now where you go to college. One of our Morgan State students, Miss Denaya Gaines, is actually at Cornell University now, working on her master's. So we're beginning to cultivate the pipeline, and it's really being of service and trying to create change one student at a time. The project is important to Baltimore City to give kids a different perspective, a different view on careers that they can enter. Architecture is a career where you get to build landscapes across America. When you do a project, it's yours to keep. These projects will be around for hundreds of years, hopefully. Baltimore has an extremely robust inventory of architectural projects. The residential projects are amazing, even though, you can go blocks and find blocks of amazing structures that are currently vacant. So it's kind of like a blank palette for the kids to begin with. And also they have a rich history of some of their commercial projects as well, going back to the early 1900s, late 1800s, that are perfect for upgrades and for, again, an architect to put their stamp on. So we're just trying to open up the kid's mind to a different career path. And the kids from Baltimore are amazing. They're robust, they're energetic, they're passionate, and they've been through some struggles before in their life. When we get the kids, they're extremely focused, and I'm very proud of them because they catch on to the technology extremely quick, and they're self-starters. We kind of just give them the nugget, and they build the nugget into a larger thing. The Elevation Awards will always have a special place. They were the first ones to kind of come forward and say, yes, we like your idea. Of course, the funding was great as far as a startup capital. We've been able to parlay after that 3 other funders that are important: Transamerica, the Thomas Wilson Foundation, and the Miles White Foundation. But the Elevation Award was the first ones to kind of say, yes, we believe in you, we believe in your project. During the year I've spent with the Elevation Awards, I've really enjoyed getting to know the other cohort members, gaining knowledge from them, wisdom from them, as well as Miss Fun, who was key in teaching us during the year. I've learned a lot about each one of the components that we trained on: self-care, business strategic planning. Even though I've been an entrepreneur for years, I'm always open and always listen and can learn more. So it's been a very valuable experience going through the year. The future, immediately, we are focused in the next year in building now the college portfolios. The kids have a foundation. Now we're going after funding to pay for college applications and pay for the production of portfolios. Most architectural programs now in America like to see a portfolio as part of the college application process. We're also acquiring funds to pay for applications for the kids to actually fill out. Those can be expensive. It's $50, $75 an application. We want our kids to apply to as many opportunities as they can, so they have a choice at the end of the day. So we're proposing that each of our children fill out at least 10 applications. So we're trying to get that funding taken care of so they don't have to worry about paying for those applications. After that, we're also cultivating relationships with stakeholders, other architectural firms. So our kids have internship programs during the summertime. And finally, we're looking forward to the end of the pipeline where we're already waiting for Ms. Gaines to complete her master's degree, because part of the pipeline is now her coming back and studying under Kamitrik Neesmith, who's our lead architect. Kamitrik and I met at Howard University years ago, but Kamitrik is certified in the district, Maryland, Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina. So when Ms. Gaines comes back, she's able to work under his license for 3 years, and then we encourage them right away to take become certified architects themselves, and we're really promoting entrepreneurship within the industry. Architecture is something that you can keep and own yourself. So we're trying to introduce some of our older students to business principles and how to actually run an architectural firm. A lot of the architects come out, they're familiar with design principles and things of that nature, but they're not familiar with really running an architectural business. So we're trying to work on that end of the pipeline, shall we say. Right now we're on the east side of Baltimore. We're also looking at buying a building on the west side. So we're looking at diversifying throughout all of Baltimore. And we're looking at that point of actually doing architectural projects and putting the corporate name on it, shall we say, and putting each one of our students' name on it. So we're looking forward to long-term actually having some magnificent design projects, whether they be commercial, residential, and really making an impact on the landscape of Baltimore.
My name is Brandon Clee. I am the Executive Director of Young Successful Leaders. Our project is the Entrepreneurship Youth Fund. We're developing the next generation of micro-entrepreneurs here in Baltimore City. We want to help their businesses grow. We want to develop them. We want to give them all the skill sets that they need to be successful, providing them with the resources and wraparound support and services that they need to see them develop and grow, like I say, become successful. So this experience has been great. It's been wonderful. It's been amazing to be a part of it. All the trainings that we've done, all the partnerships that they brought in, the connections that they made, continue to grow and help develop our organizations together collaboratively. Us connecting as also other organizations and businesses here too as well. This has been a lot of gaining access to capital resources and just being able to develop and grow as leaders. This is how this program has benefited us as an organization, also organizations that have been a part of the cohort as well. We're excited for the future and we're looking forward to continue to grow. So our short-term goal, right, is just continue to get more entrepreneurs inside our cohort, more young people. Even just investing around entrepreneurship. We know a lot of young people want to start businesses, they want to see their businesses grow, they want their businesses to thrive, and we want to be the household for that, which is why we have a term called HHE. So HHE is a household entrepreneur. And what a household entrepreneur does is, even if they don't run their businesses, they have to run their household like their businesses. So we're taking the skill sets that they learn throughout our cohort sessions, is able to go back home and teach their parents, anybody that's in the household, and able to navigate and run their business like an entrepreneur. So that's what we want to do, continue to develop more entrepreneurs, grow our organization, like I said, get more young people in it, seeing our numbers grow, being able to expand throughout Baltimore City. That's our short-term goal, and our long-term goal is just continue to invest into them and see these businesses grow and gain more access to capital. Just the last thing that I do is that before I close out any interview, I always say, why sell, sign out. That's my close mark, that's my hashtag. Why sell, sign out.
My name is Jessica Smith. I'm founder of the Mental Health Emergency Fund Incorporated, and so our purpose really is to reduce the financial barriers that community members have when it comes to receiving access to therapy. And so we give out stipends based off of financial need and, if they're in a mental health crisis. And I realized that I wasn't really prioritizing young people when I was giving out these stipends, and so I wanted to actually create a program for young people. And so that's where this Elevation Awards project comes in, Mindful Ministries Collective. And so for me and my own experience, I have lived experience with mental health challenges, and I found that, being in my church setting, they didn't always really understand, and I felt like I needed more support. And so I wanted to create this program to kind of really actually better train church leaders of how to facilitate conversation, kind of facilitate healing with people who are going through things, right? And so my project is really important for Baltimore City because I found in my research that the rate of youth suicide is a lot higher in the city of Baltimore than the rest of the state of Maryland. And so I wanted to address the problem of mental health, focusing specifically on the youth. So my organization really started focusing on adults, and I wanted to do a program specifically for the youth. So this is a program that actually gets the youth connected with adults in these organizations that are serving the youth, I'm kind of equipping them to better serve them, better be able to identify signs and symptoms of suicidal behavior, of even just mental health challenges, and really kind of have them actually lean and talk to the people that they are in community with. It's really important for me to not replace these leaders in their lives, but just to train them and equip them. So I don't want to come in and do all the programming. I actually want to do a train the trainer model where I'm training the leaders and they are going ahead and working with those young people. I'm so grateful for the Elevation Awards because they did give us some funding for our projects. And so with that funding, I was able to do a series of 5 different workshops in the beginning of the year from January to May. I did 5 workshops for my mindful meditation circles. And so I partnered with an organization called A Revolutionary Summer based in Baltimore. And so those were the leaders that I trained for the mindfulness meditation. So we had a circle once a month on Sundays. The young girls would come in and we would really practice guided breathing and meditation and things like that. And so it just gave me the ability to actually carry out the vision of that project, kind of like a pilot project. And I want to be able to work with more organizations because it's called a collective. So that was my first pilot run of it, and I want to be able to do more of it. So it kind of gave me the push to be able to do it. And in terms of the greater Elevation Award experience, it was really great to hop on the calls, learn from the different experts, the subject matter experts in the different fields around business, whether it was marketing, whether it was around social media or banking and things like that. And then also just have the one-on-one coaching. Miss Jennifer Fun was really instrumental to just kind of keeping me accountable to my goals. I'm the type of person who kind of needs those check-ins, and so it was really helpful. The big goal really is to create my own curriculum that combines scripture, meditation, and these mental health first aid practices to kind of put it in its own training so that I can package it and sell it, and maybe it becomes its own national thing one day, right? So that's really the vision, that's the goal, and I'm really grateful for Elevation Awards for being able to give me this space for the different trainings around business, and my coach who kept me accountable when we had our monthly calls and things like that. So yeah, I'm really grateful, and if anyone wants to get plugged in, you can go to my website at www.mentalhealthemergencyfund.org.
So my name is Takia Ross, and I am the author of So You Want to Pitch. So You Want to Pitch is not just a workbook, it is also a series of workshops and a conference that helps small business owners plan for, prepare to, and pitch their business for customers, capital, and collaborators. As we know, minority business owners, specifically women, receive less than 1% of venture capital funding in the United States. This is really prevalent in cities like Baltimore, where the vast majority of small businesses are being opened by African American women. So, to address the needs of this amazing market of small business owners, which we all know are the anchor institutions of many of our communities and are investing back in them in ways that we can never imagine, it is very important that we work with these small business owners to understand the funding process, to understand how they can access capital, and to educate them on how they can stand up and present their business in a way that they can receive the funding that they need to grow. One of the amazing things that the Elevation Award has done for us is to open the door for us to network with other organizations and business owners in Baltimore. We have been able to be introduced to an awesome network of entrepreneurs and social enterprises who are doing the hard work of pushing their missions forward. Not only are we able to support them, but they are able to support us as we grow and as we foster community in Baltimore. From the Elevation Award experience, not only again have we gained the community that we need to consistently grow, but also the confidence and understanding that our social enterprise can make an impact in our community. From the funding that we receive from Elevation, we have been able to grow our network and reach over 400 entrepreneurs, not just in Baltimore, but across the world with our initiative to talk to them, to educate them, to provide access to capital, people, as well as to advocate for them. It is very important to have groups like Elevation and Baltimore Corps who are supporting social enterprises who are often overlooked in the funding cycle, however, again, are doing the great work that is necessary in our communities. So long term for So You Want to Pitch, we're really excited about expanding our reach. So we have been able to reach, again, over 300 businesses across the world. However, we are so excited about what we're doing here in Baltimore. So we're working specifically with the South Baltimore communities through the SB7 initiatives, which will help small business owners in those 6 South Baltimore neighborhoods access capital, education, and advocacy. In addition, we are working with other organizations who want to host pitch competitions and who are not quite sure the nuances around the ethical consideration of businesses, how to advocate for business owners in their spaces, and how to disseminate capital in a way that will make sure that these business owners can get the best utilization of funds. So we're excited about where we're going, not only with the small businesses that we're working with, but also with the organizations who are committed to ensuring that small businesses meet success here in Baltimore.
So my name is Gabriella Shaw, and I'm the founder of New Mamish, which is a social enterprise that supports the entire wellness through pregnancy, postpartum, and motherhood. We truly focus on all of their wellness needs, and we're an on-demand village for moms. We go to their homes, fold their laundry, do their dishes, help them with their little, and we host these incredible events called monthly Mamish meetups every single month, where they're guaranteed to meet their best mama friend, and that's what our project and initiative is. And this year, with the help of Baltimore Elevation Awards, we were able to host over 12 consecutive events. We have our last event coming up this month, tomorrow actually, called Mom's Giving. It's our end of the year celebration, just to celebrate motherhood and all of the incredible sacrifices we've made as moms all year. Baltimore is such a great place to be in, but what I've realized is there are so many nonprofits and initiatives that focus on our children. And I love that because I'm a mom, of course, but I always question, what about the mom? So we're doing all of these programs, we're funding all of these different things for the children, but we're forgetting something that's crucial for that child's life, because they go to this 2-hour program twice a week, but then they go home to a family dynamic that is just off the wall. So here at New Mamish, we're really about restoring families, and we start with mom. So we focus on her wellness. We say, hey, are you taking care of yourself? You know, how's your mental health? How's your physical health? What do you need in the home to support you better so you can be the caregiver for that next generation that we want to do so well? So this year we hosted the very first Moms Conference in Baltimore, Maryland on September 9th. It was incredible. We served over 150 plus moms. We had different programs, services, resources from all over the city. So financially, Baltimore Elevation Awards really helped us with that. But also the different programs that they had every single month, like when we met out with our advisors and some cohort members, it was really good for us because I felt like they really listened to what I needed in this season. I'm not a startup entrepreneur. I've been doing entrepreneurship and business for over 10 years, but there are certain things in this stage that I needed to really know, like, hey, what do I do in this hiring stage? This is new for me. I've been kind of winging it, but when you get a team, you have to operate different. So a lot of I felt like they listened to my needs, and they really helped me like get the things I needed after the programs and stuff. And I'm gonna say this in a weird way, but it's like I knew a lot more than I thought I did. And sometimes when you take certain programs, cohorts, and you're in certain programs, you learn like, oh wow, I really do know a lot more. They're kind of reaffirming me in some of these workshops that, oh, I'm on the right track. Like, oh, I've already had a budget. You know, I already understand a lot of things about my finances, so I'm going in the right direction. And sometimes as a small business owner, you need that reassurance. It's like, sometimes you just feel like you're out in the ocean. So having people say the same things that you know or you've been practicing over the last few years, you're like, okay, it's supposed to be like this. So it makes you feel like 10 times better. So that's definitely something that they help me with. Mamish meetups are such sacred places for moms. There are these intimate events with moms. We usually host them with maybe 15, 20 women max so they could really build connection and we could pay attention to them, because so often as moms, we have to pay attention to everyone else. But it's very rare that we just have that moment of stillness and someone says like, how are you today? Like I literally remember asking someone how they were doing and just looking them in their eyes, and she just started bawling crying. And I was like, she's like, I asked her, what do you need in this season? And she's like, no one's ever asked me that. And then it just like, she just paused and I said, it's okay. She was like, well, if I stay, I'm gonna cry. And I was like, give me a hug. You know, just like take it in for a second. So Mamish meetups, we're gonna continue to do them every single month, but our community is growing outside of Baltimore. So we have moms in DC, we have moms in Virginia. So I think we're gonna start doing Mamish meetup tours. I've seen that as a vision to go to different cities and host these events. And also we host the grandiose conference. We're gonna do it again. We did it this year and we're gonna do it again next year. And I'm just super excited about that part of the project. But on the other side, we believe these resources should be accessible to everyone, even outside of our community. So number one, we're launching an app on March 8th, 2024. Super excited. And it's gonna make all these resources that we have for moms more accessible. And it's also gonna make our events easier to get to, both virtual and in person. Yeah, we got so much. We're going to be in all of the different corporate benefits packages, along with health care, dental care, vision care. They're going to be family services. And New Mamish is going to be a part of that because we really need to start incorporating family life into work life directly. We can't just say, we want you to be a great employee. We want you to come 9 to 5, have a great life. It's like what goes on at home matters too, because it really changes the productivity of your employee. You have a mom that just came back 6 weeks postpartum and she's struggling and she doesn't have anyone at work to talk to about it. You expect the same employee from pre-pregnancy to come back after she's a mom and now she's stressed out. There's laundry all over the house. Dad has no support. We completely forget about dad. He's still going to work like everything's normal and his house is a wreck in every sense. Mamish meetups are so much more than the intimate events, but that's where we're starting. But it's gonna grow.
My name is Morgan Stokes, also known as Morgan Dominique, and my project is called Sacred House. It's actually a business, my baby, that I own here in Baltimore. So we are a wellness and creative community studio, really dedicated to bridging the gap and helping our members in the community in Baltimore go on transformative journeys of healing, of personal development. So we're dedicated to all things wellness and holistic healthcare, and we really focus on trauma-informed care and social emotional learning to provide yoga, meditation, dance classes, holistic healthcare products, and all type of amazing services to the community here in Baltimore. My project is important for Baltimore City because, like I tell people, growing up here in Baltimore, I truly understand the unique needs of our city. We have such a decorated and beautiful city of people that have so many experiences and so many great stories to tell. But one thing that we've learned and we've realized is the things that we experience, the traumas and the things that many of us have endured in our lives will resurface themselves. They'll come back and revisit us in later parts of our lives. So my project and the business is so important, especially to a city like Baltimore, because we see so much trauma in this city. A lot of us have experienced a lot of things that we now are realizing into our adulthood that they're resurfacing as anxiety, as depression, so many things. So it's so important for us to kind of take charge and kind of bridge the gap to those communities and to those people who are not able to access these services, to those people that are truly underserved, because in those communities we realize in the neighborhoods where there is not enough money and there are not enough resources, there's also a lot of crime and there's a lot of chronic disease and things like heart disease and diabetes that we don't think about. Well, how do these communities just have these growing, surging numbers? Well, these same people don't have access to these type of healing modalities that can help them to release and to kind of just be the best versions of themselves. So the Elevation Award was really quintessential in my project because I like to tell people I was in a build the plane and fly the plane place in my business. And so Elevation Award was really vital because maybe not like other of my cohort members, I was already in the full swing of doing this work and kind of in my community, fully engulfed. And it's difficult being an entrepreneur and a small business owner and being a team of one to really have the support of, mentorship and infrastructure and access to these resources. So it was interesting because I found myself in a position where I am connecting my clients and my members with resources, and I found myself as an entrepreneur lacking resources. I didn't have any mentorship, or I didn't have anyone who has done these things before, who's experienced what I'm experiencing. So the Elevation Award was awesome in giving me the opportunity, to slow down a bit and to take some time to really focus on myself as an entrepreneur and the things that I needed to do to grow my business. But then also it gave me, like I said, access to some of those resources that I just didn't have, and access to some of the things that being an entrepreneur for the last 10 years. I was just telling my mentor, I don't have the corporate experience. I don't know how they're doing it at the corporations because I've never been there. So it also gave me a really great experience to just kind of see how a successful nonprofit organization in the city is running and how they're doing, the work that a lot of us are trying to do, which is bridge that gap and connect the people who need them the most. I live in the community that my business is operating in. This is my first time in brick and mortar. I've been an online entrepreneur doing the Instagram thing, for a long time. And so I ventured into the brick and mortar space. And so the Elevation Award has given me the opportunity to go back and look at the structure of my business and look at my financials and look at my reporting and my hiring process and kind of just cleaning those things up that you just wouldn't know when you're out here just, doing it on your own. I say I'm out here with God and Google. And so the Elevation Award was a great, addition to that super team. We are super, super, super grateful to be awarded another grant from an esteemed organization here in the city of Baltimore, the Downtown Partnership. So with their help, we'll actually be opening a second location. So we'll be able to expand our efforts and help get healing and wealth and wellness and resources to many more communities in Baltimore City. So we're super excited about that. And so that is kind of like our short-term plan for expansion. We're opening up a second location and we have a lot of strategic partnerships with like Baltimore City schools and things of that nature. So we just want to expand the work that we're doing in the community and touch more neighbors and more neighborhoods and more families and help them, like we said, kind of catapult in these transformational journeys of personal development. And then our long-term goals, 3 to 5 years, we hope to have a sacred house all over Maryland, all over the world. Yes.
So I am Carrie Holmes. The name of my initiative is Her Story. It started off as Raising Strong Readers, but as I was developing in the program, we really realized that we wanted to focus on girls and their trauma and telling their story. But the focus really is not just storytelling, but learning literacy and writing skills throughout the process. So kind of balling all of that all up together and creating Her Story to build a better legacy, better Baltimore by healing the girls of our city. So the reason why it's so important for Baltimore City is, one, the literacy level within Baltimore City has been on a steady decline, especially since COVID. When we start looking at the reading levels of those who are graduating in recent years, we find that there's a huge decline. And a part of that is if you're already falling behind by 3rd grade, you stop learning to read, you're reading to learn. And we're seeing that those numbers are starting to get significantly higher. So my initiative helps with the literacy as well as writing, because good writers read, good readers write. And then we have lots of children who are showing up with all kinds of trauma and burdens that they're not necessarily able to process. And providing them a safe space with that, a non-judgmental space where they're able to come and have that space to write and to release it and to work on that. So it's threefold. I started off as a napkin idea. I had seen this project work under someone else's leadership, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take it on and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make this a full-on program. And here's some ideas that I had, and sitting down and really with my cohort members and listening to what they're doing and going to the different workshops, I'm like, oh, okay, this will work. We were able to really move forward and take it from just like that piece of paper that I typed up and I got this, to being something that we hopefully will have an event in January to really do our full launch and do all of those things. So we went from, again, just this idea that was out there to be able to bring it to fruition. So the future is endless, but if I think specifically within the next few years, I would like to have connections with schools where we're in the schools working with these young people, meeting them where they are, as well as bringing their families in and helping their families to process through this as well.
My name is Keith Holt, and my project is Johnny Overdose Initiative, which is under Beginning Year. And the purpose of the Johnny Overdose Initiative is to really put those resources into the community so that we can address overdoses, which comes from a whole community structure, educating the community, educating family members, and also the drug user on various resources so that we can possibly save lives. My project is important to Baltimore City because my family, like most families in the city, has been hit by overdoses. Unfortunately, unfortunately, a couple years ago, I lost 2 uncles within the same year to overdoses. And I don't want people in the city to feel the same pain that my family felt. My family is really, really tight-knit, like a lot of families in Baltimore. So, you know, losing a person who used to call me his little buddy because he was my big buddy. Like, he taught me how to play basketball, he taught me how to cook eggs, he taught me how to do so much. Unfortunately, you know, it was bad situations. So, well, the Elevation Fund, for the most part, is really the resources that they offer you. And also being in the same room with like-minded people that are really trying to change the world is just phenomenal. Lots of times, like, I've been working in public health for about, like, I would say 15 years so far. I worked at the health department for 10, as well as I've done other things. But it's really rare that you can find peers that are really out here driving to try to make these changes for the city. And I think everyone has fantastic projects, and I think the opportunities for us to learn from each other and build together is definitely phenomenal. I think lots of times in the city we are so distant that it's like, you know, competitive program versus competitive program. But with building cohorts like this, it's really showing that if we all work together, then it's nothing that we can't overcome. One, the funding is great. And the reason why I say funding, because it really takes a lot for someone to kind of go out on a limb and really support a new project. When we go out and we try to apply for grants and things like that, lots of times we were denied because we didn't have the time put in, and we didn't have that capital already in the bank to match some of the grants, which are barriers for new up-and-coming nonprofits or new up-and-coming programs. And the fact that someone is able to actually say, you know what, we believe in your project, we're gonna start you off with something so that you can do things that you may not have been able to do. Because most of the time, small programs and small projects and small organizations, we fund these things out of our own money. And, you know, and I'm not a rich guy. So you know, my 9 to 5 is normally going towards rent, car insurance, car payment, things like that. So for me to take those funds and try to do something is definitely a lot. We have networking opportunities with each other that we can learn more about each other's programs. And I think that's the phenomenal piece, because with my program, with Joy, with Johnny Overdose Initiatives, it's so many different factors that goes into overdoses. Like, I often look at it like a iceberg. So when the Titanic went swimming in that ocean and they hit the iceberg, the tip of that iceberg, let's say, that's just the overdose. But however, underneath the iceberg is all of those social determinants of health that we do not talk about, or all of those issues. Why do people turn to drugs? Such as it can be depression, it could be mental problems. It could either be, honestly, like we even seen from Netflix, it could be medically described medication, like what happened to my uncles. It was actually Percocets that they received from their back problems. But however, when the doctor stopped prescribing those pills for you, it's still a need to get it, because a lot of those pills, as the news started to uncover, had a lot of those drugs in those pills that was described from the doctor. So it's a need. So we have to get into the mind of it. So we can't just continually saying, stop using drugs, because it may not be that simple, because it may be so many things below the ocean surface that we don't see. In the future, what I would ultimately hope in my lifetime or after my lifetime would definitely be a world free of overdoses. But however, until we get to that point, I would definitely want to do more education, partnering with churches, partnering with community organizations, taking that stigma out of overdoses. Just because you see a person with a box of Narcan do not mean that they are the drug user. It could just mean that they're equipped to save a life of a drug user. So we really got to take that stigma out. We have to prepare the entire community that we are all lifesavers, and we need to be prepared to be lifesavers. I think lots of times stigma and public opinion alter the way that we equip ourselves to handle certain situations. And a couple years from now, I would like to have various partnerships around the city with churches and various places to really do that education so that we can remove stigma, which is the overarching purpose of the main organization, which is Begin Anew, that was founded by a former educator and Baltimore City. And it's really to use non-traditional ways of education to address various disparities, health disparities, social disparities, all of the things that we do in Baltimore City.
Hi, I'm Shiva Shakai. I'm a licensed art therapist and counselor based in Maryland and Baltimore City. My project with the Elevation Awards was about starting a private practice that really focuses on the mental health of artists and performers and how their own personal identity work can influence their creative projects or how they end up working with communities. And it kind of has a two-part piece where there's the individual work in private practice through art therapy, as well as hoping to create or be part of a larger artist collective that can conduct different community arts workshops, natural building workshops, kind of start to educate the local community about different sustainable ways to build or to sculpt in public spaces. So the private practice is called First Nature, and the community collective, it's a working title, but it might be called Common Ground Collective, or kind of seeing how the group would guide it. I feel like Baltimore is there's so many diverse cultures and niche talent, and especially the arts here is such like a thriving culture. And I feel like it's important to offer self-regulation tools or different types of coping skills that artists can really explore their own identities or their own kind of internal conflicts to make meaning of their work or their purpose in this space. And I think it can really benefit Baltimore City because a lot of people that I've been in contact with, the artists here are really trying to tell stories of the local cultures. They're trying to bring more visibility to different types of people that live here and share this space. And so I really hope that by giving the types of mental health support for artists, that they can really become leaders in telling these restorative narratives of our local community and for their heritage. This whole program has been amazing in just giving me like the confidence, and the mentorship to even platform myself as an artist and an entrepreneur, and to really take that healthy risk to invest in these ideas and the people that I believe in, and just having the resources to register my business, different, education about finances and accounting, things that, in my own arts education, I didn't necessarily receive very much. So that's all been really helpful in me kind of having a business mind or more of a business plan, which has given me kind of a roadmap of how I'd like to move forward, and just overall connecting with other entrepreneurs or creatives that are doing their own work and feeling really inspired and kind of part of a larger community that wants to collaborate and is making change. So currently, I just procured my first individual client for the private practice. So that is still going underway. I'm hoping to work with more people and kind of build my caseload. Moving forward from there, I'm really hoping to secure a local partnership with a university that works with other art therapists, perhaps doing some more education or research collaborations with them. And hopefully in the later future that, this starts to bring people together where we can connect as more of a collective that can do like transdisciplinary projects in the community, whether that be sculptural or film or consulting, with businesses or nonprofits to create products or pieces of art that can drive awareness and really tell stories that are transformative, that kind of create a restorative narrative for Baltimore City, and that can also meet some goals for local organizations and nonprofits. I'm super grateful for this experience and for their investment in me. It's just that vote of confidence has been so critical in me just taking that healthy risk to do this and to invest in what I believe in. So yeah, I'm just grateful overall.